I want you to close your eyes for a second. Imagine you are standing in a valley, but this isn't a normal valley with, green grass and a nice breeze. You look up, and instead of the sky, you see rock.
Just rock.
Miles and miles of it. Jagged black granite peaks that rise up on all sides. So high that they choke off the horizon. It's like you're at the bottom of a stone bowl.
It creates such a claustrophobic image right off the bat. It's oppressive.
Completely. And because these mountains are so astronomically high, the sun literally cannot clear them. It passes overhead, somewhere way up there in the stratosphere, but the direct light, it never actually touches the ground where you live.
You're living in a permanent state of twilight.
It's freezing, the shadows are long, and there's this presence, a creeping magical force called the frost that is actively trying to turn you into a statue.
That is the setting of Reverie. It's a place that, by all laws of nature and thermodynamics, it shouldn't exist. It should be a tomb.
But it isn't. People live there. They have tea, they get married, they farm, and that is what we are diving into today. We are looking at a village that survives the apocalypse every single day for one reason and one reason only.
Yeah, and that reason lives at the top of the mountain.
Exactly. There's a man living in a castle made of ice at the very top of those peaks. They call him the Starmaker. And his job description is wild. He physically reaches into the sky, grabs the sunlight like it's a physical object, and tethers it to a lamppost to keep everyone from freezing to death.
It's such a primal concept, isn't it? I mean, in our world, the sunrise is a guarantee. We take it for granted. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. In this book, The Sun and the Starmaker by Rachel Griffin, light is a commodity.
A resource.
A scarce resource that has to be harvested by hand day after day.
And it is a resource that comes with a heavy price tag. So today, we're doing a deep dive into this book. We've pulled together the lore, the character analysis, the magic system. We're going to talk about an impossible love mythology that powers an entire civilization. We're going to look at a girl who uses mirrors to farm tomatoes in the dark, which, by the way, is just the coolest detail I have read in a long time.
It's a brilliant example of adaptation, of sheer human will. And we're going to talk about what happens when that girl, who just wants a quiet life, she accidentally catches an arrow fired by an immortal sorcerer and finds out she is the heir to his power.
It's cozy fantasy, but with incredibly high stakes. It's got that enemies to lovers trope, but it's set against a backdrop of, existential dread. So let's get into it. And I want to start with the obvious question, because I'm looking at these notes. My brain is breaking a little bit. How did this happen? How does a village end up getting stuck in a geological throat where the sun can't reach it?
Well, that brings us to the mythology of the Great Quake. This isn't just a fantasy world where magic did it and we move on. There is a history here, a real geological trauma. The sources describe a cataclysmic event, tectonic plates shifting so violently that the Earth actually folded up around this village.
So it was a geological trap. The Earth literally swallowed them.
Exactly. The village of Reverie was pushed upward and surrounded. Now, here is where the mythology gets really interesting. In this world, the sun isn't just a ball of burning gas. She's personified.
She has a consciousness.
She's a sentient female entity. And the way Griffin writes this prologue is it's heartbreaking. The sun is looking down, watching the earth groan and shift, and suddenly this little pocket of people she loved is just gone, swallowed by the dust and the peaks.
That is terrifying, to be seen and then suddenly hidden, like a child under a blanket.
She could hear them crying in the dark, but she couldn't reach them. The angle was wrong, the mountains were too high, so she makes a choice that sets the rules for the entire magic system for the rest of time. She turns herself human.
Whoa, okay. Which I assume is a one-way trip, or at least a very costly one.
Extremely costly. It's a massive sacrifice. She descends to the village to say goodbye, assuming they're all going to die. But when she gets there, she finds a mortal man. And in the midst of this freezing, dark disaster, they work together to save people. And because this is a romance at its core, they fall in love.
The ultimate long-distance relationship. The sun and a mortal man.
But it's doomed from the start. I mean, she's the sun. She can't stay in a human body forever. The sky needs her. The world needs her. But she realizes she can't leave him to die in the dark either. So she does something that is described in the text as incredibly visceral. She infuses his blood with her light.
Explain that to me. Is this like a spell, a potion, or something more biological?
It's much more physical than a spell. It's almost like a transfusion of divinity. Yeah. She floods his bloodstream with her essence, with her actual power. It's a massive risk. The text implies she could have incinerated him right there. Imagine pouring molten gold into someone's veins.
Jeez.
But his body accepts it. He becomes the first Starmaker. He stops aging, he gains the strength to withstand the cold, and most importantly, he gains the ability to call her down.
So the magic system is basically a phone line to his ex-girlfriend in the sky.
In a way, yes, but it's tragic. She has to go back to the heavens, she holds his hand until the very last second, and then she's dragged away. He's left on the ground, immortal and alone, with this duty to keep the lights on for everyone else.
And that duty isn't just wave a wand.
No. And this is a crucial detail for the rest of our discussion. The magic is tied to the land through, well, through death.
Whoa, okay, pivot to morbid. What do you mean by that?
The source material specifies that while the Starmaker is immortal-ish, they do eventually have to pass the torch. They can die, and when they do, they are buried in the village. Their bodies, which are just saturated with that solar magic, they literally feed the soil.
So the ground is radioactive with magic.
Essentially, that's the only reason crops can grow without direct sunlight. The magic seeps from the graves of the past Starmakers into the dirt. It's a closed-loop ecosystem. The dead sustain the living.
That creates such a heavy atmosphere. You're walking on top of the people who saved you. You are eating food grown from their magic, which is the perfect transition to our protagonist, Aurora Finch, because she's trying to grow food in this graveyard soil.
Aurora is a fantastic character because she represents human resilience. She isn't magical. She doesn't think she is. She's just trying to grow tomatoes.
In the dark.
Yeah.
Which feels like a fool's errand.
It does, but she's found a way. She's an agricultural innovator. She uses what she calls mirror farming.
I love this detail in the oats. Break down how this works because it sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting. Imagine the village. It's twilight. There's a tiny bit of ambient light reflecting off the snow and the peaks, starlight, moonlight, maybe a stray beam that bounces off a glacier. Aurora has spent years collecting broken mirrors, cracked glass, polished metal, anything reflective.
Anything she can get her hands on.
Exactly. She scrambles over fences and rooftops, setting up these intricate arrays of mirrors to bounce that tiny amount of light from neighbor to neighbor, focusing it all onto her family's plot of land.
It's like she has built a solar concentrator out of junk.
Precisely. It shows her character. She isn't sitting around waiting for the Starmaker to save her. She's scraping every photon she can out of the sky to feed her family. She is practical, she's hardworking, and she is fiercely protective.
And she needs to be, because the dark isn't the only problem. We need to talk about the frost. Because when I read the summary, I thought, okay, it gets cold. But this isn't just low temperature, is it?
No, the frost is an antagonist. It's a malevolent force. The sources describe it as a creeping, petrifying disease. It doesn't just freeze you, it turns you to stone.
Like a Medusa effect.
Yes, but slower and more insidious. It creeps up the limbs, the skin turns white and cracks like marble, and once it reaches the heart, that's it, you're a statue. Forever.
And this is personal for Aurora. This isn't a theoretical threat happening to someone else in a different village.
It is happening in her living room. Her sister, Elsie, has been touched by the frost. Her leg is already turning to stone. Aurora is watching her sister slowly calcify before her eyes.
That adds a ticking clock to everything. She needs a cure, she needs food, and she needs light. And this is where the social structure of Reverie gets really interesting. The notes mention something called glare lines.
Oh, this is one of the most unique parts of Griffin's world building.
It sounds like a migraine. What is a glare line?
It's a magical utility grid based on marriage.
I'm sorry, what?
Stick with me here. In this world, the magic in the soil, that death magic we talked about, responds to human connection. When two people from different households get married, a physical beam of magic, a glare line, forms between their childhood homes and their new shared home.
So getting married literally boosts the Wi-Fi signal for the magic.
That is a perfect way to put it. It magnifies the fertility of the soil along that line. So in Reverie, marriage isn't just about I love you or tax benefits. It's a survival strategy.
It's infrastructure.
It's infrastructure. If you marry someone on the other side of the valley, you create a line of magic that helps everyone's crops grow between those 2 points.
That puts a huge amount of pressure on romance. You're not just disappointing your parents if you don't get married. You are starving the village.
It commodifies relationships, and that is Aurora's situation. She is days away from getting married to a man named Farron.
Tell us about Farron. Is he the dashing hero?
He's nice, he's safe, he's a baker, he represents a normal, quiet life. And importantly, marrying him will create a glare line that Aurora's family desperately needs to keep their farm going.
So she likes him, but she needs the marriage for the farm. Complicated.
It's a mix. She cares for him, certainly, but the text makes it clear that he represents safety. And Aurora craves safety because her life is so precarious. Her sister is dying. The cold is getting worse. Farron is the life raft.
Okay, so we have the stakes, sister turning to stone, crops failing, wedding in 3 days that will save the family farm, the pressure cooker is on. And what does Aurora do? She decides to break the law.
Of course she does. She wants her wedding feast to be perfect. She wants meat on the table. So, despite the strict ban on hunting the sacred animals of the mountain, she grabs her bow and heads into the woods to find a snow stag.
This seems like a terrible idea for someone who claims to be practical.
It's reckless, but it shows her desperation. She's in the woods, the snow is deep, and she spots this magnificent white stag. She draws her bow, she has the shot, she releases the arrow.
And this is where the genre shifts, because the arrow doesn't hit the deer.
No. A hand reaches out of nowhere and snatches the arrow out of the air.
Just grabs it, mid-flight.
Effortlessly. And stepping out from behind the trees is the Starmaker himself.
Let's paint a picture of him. Is he Gandalf?
Yeah.
Is he Dumbledore? Old and wise?
Far from it. He's young, or looks young. The description is striking. Liquid pearl hair, gold eyes that look like they are burning, and blindingly handsome. He looks ethereal.
But his personality doesn't match the face, does it?
Not at all. You expect him to be mystical or wise. Instead, he's rude. He is annoyed. He looks at her like she's a nuisance. He's basically a magical landlord scolding a tenant for breaking the rules. He says, "You know hunting is forbidden."
I love that contrast. She's standing there in her wool cloak, probably shivering, holding a bow, and he's this golden god complaining about poaching regulations.
But the dynamic changes the second he touches her. He reaches out to take the arrow back, his skin brushes her wrist, and boom!
What happens?
Her veins light up.
Like actually glow.
Gold light floods her veins, visible through the skin. It's the inciting incident in its purest form. The Starmaker sees it, and for the first time, his annoyed expression cracks. He looks at her arm, then at her face, and he says, "There is sunlight in your blood."
Yeah, that gives me chills. Sunlight in your blood.
It's a diagnosis, and it's a death sentence for the life she knew. He tells her right there, "You are the next Starmaker."
Wait, does she get a choice? Is there an application process? A pamphlet?
The application process was the glowing veins. The Starmaker explains it very coldly. The magic has chosen her. It's building up inside her. If she doesn't learn to use it, which means coming with him to the castle immediately, the energy will burn her from the inside out.
So it's come with me or explode.
Basically. And notice the Starmaker's lack of empathy here. He knows he's ruining her life. He knows he's dragging her away from her family, her wedding, but he views it as a logistical necessity. He needs a successor. He's been waiting centuries for one. He's efficient, but he is incredibly cold.
Which is devastating for Aurora. She's supposed to get married in 72 hours. She has a dress. She has a life planned out.
She freaks out. She turns and runs.
Did you outrun a teleporting ice wizard? My guess is no.
Spoiler alert, no. She sprints back to her cottage, lungs burning, bursts through the door, and he is sitting in her living room waiting for her.
That is a power move.
Chilling.
It establishes the power dynamic instantly. He permeates her safe space. He's sitting there looking so out of place in her humble cottage, telling her parents that their daughter belongs to the mountain now.
This scene at the cottage is pivotal, though. Because Aurora doesn't just fold. She doesn't just cry and say goodbye. She bargains.
This is why we love her. She realizes she's cornered. She has to go, or she dies. But she realizes he needs her too. He needs a successor, so she leverages that. She looks this immortal being in the eye and says, "Okay, I'll go, but I have conditions."
It's a hostage negotiation, but she's the hostage. What are the demands?
Demand 1, heal Elsie.
The sister with the stone light.
Right, and this is a great show of power moment. The Starmaker just walks over to Elsie, takes her hands, and just washes the frost away instantly.
Just like that. No potion, no chanting.
Just his will. And crucially, Elsie's veins don't glow, which proves she isn't magical. She's just healed. So condition 1 is met. The immediate threat to her sister is gone.
But then comes the big one. Condition 2. And this brings us back to those glare lines.
Yes. Aurora does the math in her head. She realizes that by leaving with the Starmaker, she's effectively canceling her wedding to Farron.
Which means no glare line. Which means her family's farm loses the magic boost. Which means they starve.
Exactly. She's saving her sister, but she's dooming her parents to poverty. So she makes a demand that is frankly insane. She tells the Starmaker, if I can't marry Farron, you have to marry me.
Laughs. I need to see his face in that moment.
Oh, he is horrified. He is disgusted. He says, you are not suggesting we marry. He looks at her like she's a bug.
But she holds her ground.
She does. She explains the logic. My family needs a glare line. You are the most powerful source of magic in the world. If we marry, the line between the castle and this cottage will be strong enough to grow crops in a blizzard.
It's purely transactional. It's a business contract.
It is. And the Starmaker, being a creature of logic, sees the point. He hates it. He doesn't want a wife. He wants an apprentice. But he needs her to get in the sleigh, so he agrees. Done.
Done. And just like that, they're engaged. But the emotional fallout of this is brutal, because now she has to go tell Farron.
This scene breaks my heart. She goes to Farron's house, this sweet, safe baker who loves her, and she can't tell him the truth.
Why not? Why not say, hey, I'm a wizard now, sorry.
Because if he knew she was being taken against her will or forced into this dangerous life, he'd try to save her. He would follow her up the mountain, and he would die. The cold would kill him, or the magic would.
So to save him, she has to hurt him.
She has to make him let her go. She breaks the engagement. She tells him it's over. Farron is devastated. He begs her to run away with him. Later in the book, we see letters he writes her, desperate pleas saying, I am coming. Please wait for me.
And she writes back 2 words, don't come.
It's the death of her innocence. She is choosing duty over love. She's burning the bridge to the only safety she has ever known.
It sets up such a fascinating dichotomy for the rest of the book. Farron represents safe love. The Starmaker represents, well, at this point, he represents death and taxes.
Yeah.
Death, taxes, and severe frostbite.
Speaking of frostbite, she packs her trunk, says goodbye to her weeping parents, and gets in the sleigh. And let me tell you, this is not a romantic sleigh ride with hot cocoa situation.
It's a survival situation. As they ascend the mountain, the air gets thinner, the temperature drops to supernatural levels. The text describes Aurora feeling like her internal organs are freezing solid. She starts to lose consciousness.
And the only thing that keeps her alive is him.
He grabs her hands. And because of their magical connection, that sunlight in the blood, his touch acts like a heater. It floods her with warmth.
It's their first moment of physical intimacy, but it's born entirely out of necessity. If he lets go, she dies.
It reinforces the reality of her new life. She is completely dependent on him. His magic is the only thing that sustains her in this hostile environment.
And then, through the blizzard, she sees it. The castle.
The castle at the top of the world. It's made of ice and ivory stone. But the most striking detail is the ceiling. The main hall has a ceiling made of a sheer sheet of ice, so you can see the stars directly through it. And the smell. It doesn't smell like old stone or ice. It smells like a greenhouse.
That is the key character detail for the Starmaker. The castle is filled with thousands of fresh flowers, roses, cherry blossoms, vibrant colors.
In the middle of a frozen wasteland. How is that even possible?
It's a paradox, and it tells us something about the man who lives there. He projects this image of being cold and unfeeling, but he surrounds himself with delicate, living things that require constant care.
He's a gardener in the Arctic.
Exactly. It suggests a desperate craving for life, for beauty. But Aurora doesn't have time to psychoanalyze him yet, because the next morning, the work begins. The ritual of the sun.
This was the part of the book that really stressed me out. I thought magic would be, waving a wand, Accio sunlight.
Not in this world. The ritual is agonizing.
Walk us through it. What do they actually do?
They go out to a glacier edge before dawn. There's a gold lamppost standing there in the ice. The Starmaker has to physically pull the sun's light from the sky and anchor it to the post.
And Aurora has to help.
She has to hold his hand to learn the flow of the magic. And she describes it as feeling like she's being incinerated. Heat shot through her body in an unbearable surge. She's writhing on the ground in pain.
It is raw nuclear power. It is not twinkling fairy dust.
It strips away the glamour. Being the Starmaker isn't a gift. It's a burden. It hurts. It physically damages you. And when it's over, the Starmaker is there, rubbing her back while she recovers in the snow. For a second, he's gentle.
But only for a second.
Right. As soon as she catches her breath, the walls come back up. He stands up, brushes off the snow, and says, "The worst is over." He expects her to just move on.
He's trying to toughen her up, isn't he? Like a drill sergeant.
He is. But he's also protecting himself. He can't afford to coddle her. He needs her to be strong enough to survive when he's gone.
This emotional whiplash leads us to the dinner table dynamics. I have to talk about these dinners because they're painfully awkward. It's just him, her, and his giant table.
Oh,
And the rabbit. We have to mention the rabbit.
Constance. She is an immortal white rabbit. She was given to the first Starmaker by the sun herself, so she has been around for centuries.
And she has an attitude. She knocks things over. She judges people. She's great.
Serves as a bridge to the past. She's the only living thing that has seen every Starmaker. But at these dinners, she's also a witness to the Starmaker's cruelty, because this is where he decides to give Aurora the welcome to immortality orientation speech.
And it is bleak. He doesn't sugarcoat it one bit.
Not at all. He lays it out. You will stop aging. Everyone you love, your parents, your sister, Farron, they will grow old and die. You watch them wither. Eventually, you will live so long you will forget your own name, and then you will die alone.
Talk about bad table manners. He's basically telling her, welcome to hell. Enjoy the soup.
Aurora is so upset she literally flees the room in tears. She can't handle it.
And he chases her. He goes to her room. And this is where we get the line that made me gasp. She's yelling at him, telling him he doesn't know anything about her or what she feels. And he looks her dead in the eye.
And says, I do not think of you at all.
It's the ultimate dismissal. It's that Don Draper Mad Men meme. I feel bad for you. I don't think about you at all. Just devastating.
But here's where the expert analysis comes in. In Mad Men, Don Draper might have meant it. Here, the Starmaker is lying through his teeth.
You think so? It sounds pretty convincing.
I know so. Look at the evidence. He bandaged her hand when she got hurt. He wrote to her sister to invite her for the wedding because he knew Aurora was lonely. He heals the rabbit. He tends to his flowers. This is not a man who feels nothing. This is a man who feels too much.
So the coldness is a shield.
Absolutely. He says later in the book, hope is nothing more than a cruelty. Think about his life. He has watched everyone he loved die for centuries. If he lets himself care about Aurora, if he thinks about her, he opens himself up to that pain all over again.
He's trying to convince himself as much as he's trying to convince, I don't think about you. I don't care about you. Because if he does, he's doomed.
Precisely. It's a defense mechanism born of centuries of trauma. But that defense mechanism gets shattered by a subplot that I found incredibly moving, the story of Tilly.
Oh, Tilly. This is the Magic on a Rise segment. I didn't expect this kind of body horror mixed with whimsy.
It's a unique piece of lore. Sometimes the magic and reverie manifests spontaneously without a bloodline. Tilly was a village girl who ate poisonous yew seeds and died in the snow while making a snow angel. And the magic of the land was so strong, and her spirit was so strong, that the snow angel came to life.
So there is a living, walking snow angel named Tilly wandering around.
Yes, but the tragedy is she has memory loss. She doesn't know she's made of snow. She thinks she's the girl. She's wandering the village looking for herself.
That is heartbreaking.
It is. And the Starmaker and Aurora go to retrieve her because she's technically a magical entity that needs to be contained. And the way the Starmaker handles Tilly is a revelation for Aurora.
He isn't the grumpy landlord here.
No. He is incredibly gentle. He finds her in the crowd, in the market. He kneels down and he tells her, I see you.
I see you.
He validates her existence. He doesn't treat her like a monster or a mistake. He brings her home to the castle.
It destroys his cold, unfeeling monster persona completely. Aurora watches this and realizes, okay, this guy isn't a robot. He's a caretaker.
He collects broken things. The rabbit, the snow angel, and now Aurora. He creates a sanctuary for things that don't fit anywhere else.
But Aurora, being Aurora, can't just leave well enough alone. She starts snooping around the castle, and she finds a hidden room.
The peculiar door. It's a plain wooden door in a hallway of marble and gold. It sticks out like a sore thumb.
And when she forces it open, it's not a dungeon. It's not a torture chamber.
It's a bedroom. A dusty, small, cluttered bedroom.
It looks like a teenager's room from 200 years ago.
It's his childhood bedroom. He had it moved brick by brick, board by board to the castle when he built it.
And inside, she finds photos. A picture of him with his sister. And his sister has brown hair. His hair in the photo is brown.
Which proves he wasn't always this white-haired, golden-eyed immortal. He was a mortal boy once. He had a family. He had a sister he loved.
This makes him such a hypocrite, though. He's telling Aurora, forget your past, forget your family, it just brings pain. Meanwhile, he's literally hoarding his own childhood in a secret room.
It highlights the hypocrisy born of his pain. He knows exactly how much it hurts to hold on, so he tells her to let go to spare her that pain. But he can't do it himself. He's trapped in his own nostalgia and grief. He's a prisoner of his own history.
So we have the tension building, we have the secret kindnesses, we have the tragic backstory hidden in the spare room, and then the wedding preparations ramp up. Because remember, They are still getting married.
And this leads to a major confrontation. The Starmaker sends out invitations to the entire village, including Farron, without telling Aurora.
That is savage, sending an invite to the ex-fiancé. Who does that?
It's cruel, but I think it's calculated. He knows Aurora is stalling. He knows she hasn't told Farron the whole truth or properly said goodbye. By sending the invitation, he forces her to face the reality.
Yeah.
He's popping the bubble of denial she's living in.
She is furious. She bursts into his room to yell at him. And this is a very important detail for the romance readers out there. He is shirtless and wet. He just got out of the bath.
A classic romance trope, but it serves a narrative purpose here. It strips away his armor, literally. He's vulnerable. He isn't wearing his heavy coats or his magical persona. He's just a man.
And they argue. She calls him cruel. He calls her a coward for not writing to Farron herself.
And he's right. She was ghosting Farron. She was trying to have it both ways, protecting Farron but not letting him go.
But the argument gets interrupted by our favorite agent of chaos, Constance the rabbit.
She knocks over a teapot.
Crash. Broken porcelain everywhere. Aurora cuts her hand on a shard, and the fight evaporates.
Instantly, the Starmaker drops to his knees. He takes her hand. He tends to the wound with this extreme, focused care. The anger is gone, replaced by that caretaker instinct we saw with Tilly.
But this is where the dynamic shifts. He looks at her and says, "We challenge each other."
That is such a charged line. We challenge each other. It's an admission of equality. He isn't treating her like a student or a nuisance anymore. He's treating her like a partner. He realizes that her fire, her stubbornness is exactly what he needs. He doesn't need a compliant apprentice. He needs someone who will push back.
It sets the stage for the wedding day itself, which brings us to the climax of this arc. The morning of the wedding, Aurora wakes up, and who is sitting on her bed?
Elsie.
Her sister, the one who is turning to stone.
The Starmaker arranged for Elsie to visit. He brought her up the mountain safely.
He leaves a note. He's there.
The note is significant. He writes that he will take care of the sunlight alone that morning so she can have the day with her sister. He takes on the pain of the ritual by himself to give her a moment of joy. And the note ends with this promise.
Oh, this part got me.
It ends with, "I may not be very good company, but I will be a decent husband. That I can promise."
A decent husband. It's such a humble promise for a guy who pulls the sun out of the sky.
It is. But for Aurora, it means everything. It means safety. It means respect. It means he's trying.
It's the start of the thaw. The enemies to lovers arc is fully in motion. He's showing her, through actions rather than words, that he can be relied upon.
And it raises the central question of the book. Is it better to shut yourself off to avoid pain, like the Starmaker tries to do? Or is it better to stay open and hopeful, even when it hurts, like Aurora?
That's the core conflict. Aurora refuses to let the cold turn her heart to stone, even while the Starmaker is basically shivering behind his walls of ice.
And I think the answer the book gives us is in that glare line.
Right. Let's circle back to that. The glare line is a magical connection born of marriage.
Yeah.
Even though this marriage is fake, a business deal, the connection between them is real.
The shared blood, the shared pain of the ritual, the shared duty. It creates a bond that is stronger than any normal marriage. It suggests that perhaps the impossible love of the mythology isn't so impossible after all. Maybe it just requires a different kind of strength.
Exactly. It's not the soft, safe love she had with Farron. It's a love that burns. It's a love that challenges you.
And in a world of eternal ice, a love that burns is the only thing that will keep you alive.
So listeners, here is the thought I want you to walk away with. What does safe love versus challenging love mean to you? And honestly, ask yourself, would you marry the grumpy immortal in the ice castle if it meant saving your village? I think I might.
I think we all might, given the alternative.
Especially if he has a cute rabbit. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll see you next time.